apart. Conquer fears, won't let them reside. Heartbeats pound as we take the dive. Living now feels so alive. Heart steel veins glowing bright. Fitness gone in the dead of night. Dating game, we got the sight. Crushing finance, career out of sight. Man up now, we own it true. Breaking change, just me and you. Success stories everywhere. Living life beyond compare.
What's going on, everybody? It's Kevin, your big brother from the Men of Now. Here lately, we've been doing a lot of different topics, and we've kind of strayed away from what the Men of Now is all about. And I was thinking about something earlier today, even took some notes, wrote it down. But male friendships, they're on the decline, man. And it's no one's fault, but it's the society we're starting to live in. And it's a society we need to change, especially as men, as we move forward. So I want to, anybody that sees this, I want you to ask a question. This is just for yourself. Answer to yourself. Who do you call when life hits you hard? Okay, when your relationship starts to fall apart, when work becomes unbearable, when you're on the edge and you just need somebody, not to fix it, but just to sit in the fire with you, man, and talk about it. We all have dads, we all have brothers, we all have family, but sometimes family is not the one that you need down in the trenches with you. And a lot of us nowadays, the answer is no one. If the answer to you that you just asked that question to yourself watching this is, man, when shit hits the fan, I go to no one. Trust me, man, you're not alone. But that's exactly the problem we're here to confront and we want to talk about right now. Because over the last few decades, male relationships have quietly started to wither away, man. We used to hunt together. We used to build together. We used to fight together. Now, no, we sit behind the screens and we compete and we isolate. And that's the beginning of the end, if you ask my opinion. But I don't want to go any further than this before I bring in a really good friend of mine and a fellow Men of Now member, Philly's best dating coach for healthy and meaningful relationship, Alex Hudsman. We know him as Huds. So I want to bring him to the stage right now. How you doing, brother? I think you're muted, my friend.
Holy shit, I thought I was a professional. So I got my Donald Trump minifigure here of during that almost fatal moment. I've got my Art of the Deal. And that's kind of what I wanted to tie in with all of this and why I was so excited when you brought this forward. Because what we just saw with everything that went down, do I think that it was a smart move of Trump to bomb Iran? No. Do I think it was a tactful move? Potentially. It seemed like it was until the little guys decided to start infighting. I don't want to call them children because they're not children, but you know what I mean. Like they decided to start infighting within an hour. Like it was like 40 minutes after they announced the ceasefire. And I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Like when you sit down at a table and understand things, like Kevin, there's a lot of things that you do. I mean, when we hung out in Maryland, and we actually finally linked up. I mean, there's things you do that I don't agree with that I think are weird and different than me. But like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't define our relationship. Our relationship's defined by that different. I don't even know exactly how to explain it, but there's a certain level of respect that just exists in that friendship. And I don't see that respect existing anymore. And I've seen it dwindle year over year. I know naturally guys tend to have less friends as time goes on. I think everybody does, kind of as you grow up, your circles get smaller as you kind of like fall into, whatever sect you're going to be. But it just was so confusing to me that people can be so like black and white about everything. Most people can't see shades of gray.
Well, nobody can find a happy median, man. Especially now, you brought up the whole bullshit that's going on in the Middle East and all that, but it takes it back to what's going on, especially in the West right now. If you believe one thing politically, then no one else can be a part of your circle unless they believe the way you believe. Have the same values, but you think this, somebody might think a little bit different, so they instantly shun them, and that's what's the fall. Like I talked about in the monologue, it's all about competition. It's always about being right, and it's not building together. It's not going out on a hunt like we used to. When I say we used to, I just mean it was men. Going out deer hunting. This is before fucking brain rot of scrolling and that kind of stuff. Now we're taught, the modern man, success is a solo thing, that being vulnerable is a weakness, and that deep connection is somehow unmanly. And when I say deep connection, it doesn't mean you're sharing your soul and you're sitting crying around a fire about all the things going wrong in your life. It's just about connecting as men, as we should, because we all have a greater purpose. The hunter-gatherer sense of our being will never fucking change. I know that there's a lot of people out there that want that to not be so, but those people are the ones that are making the biggest problems in the world right now, especially when it comes to manhood, especially when it comes to masculinity. Loneliness in men right now is called the silent epidemic, man. It's linked to depression, substance abuse, early death. Worst of all, most men suffer in silence, pretending they're fine. But it's that natural primal instinct that we have to work together as men to achieve the goals that we have. And it's not only just hammering nails together, but it's also sharing ideas, sharing goals, sharing paths to get to those goals, and having someone that can help you, hinder you, even in some cases, and then also give you advice and a pathway that might get you there quicker. But if you're trying to do it by yourself nowadays, it's not going to fucking work. And it's been tried for the last couple of decades to do that. Joe Rogan.
Hold on. Nope, got to pause you there. ChatGPT is my friend, and he tells me what I need to do. What are you talking about? I got friends.
Yeah. If you want a woke, feminine sense of that, now I use ChatGPT every now and then too. But what I noticed real quick is that it had a bias. A bias that I wouldn't get from my very masculine 73-year-old ponytail, still riding a Harley dad that came from the real old school, that I can't get from ChatGPT. And that's what we're missing. A man is only as strong as the men around him. Yeah. So I want to speak on that. Around you, you're going to be a weak man, and that's a cold hard truth for a lot of people to understand. But especially men, because we've known each other since 3rd grade. I don't give a fuck, man. If they're not helping you be better, if they're not on your team to help you all strive to be better men, then guess what? They're not your fucking friends. They're just an acquaintance that you've known for 30 years.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the truth. I mean, even just thinking about some of my friends from high school, that it just sucked because, dude, like I started doing this, and I remember like in the first couple of months, I got like an $800 check, and then I had to like file taxes because it was like a subcontractor and all this stuff, and it was like, granted, $800, not a big deal. maybe I shouldn't have even followed it, but I don't know. All right, not financial advice. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that at all. But it was interesting that as soon as I started becoming successful here, I had those people that I thought were ride or dies and I thought were my best friends completely fall away. And it was strange. It's like, this is the time when we come together, when we show strength, and and then you try and tear down that strength that I have. So we never were a team, I guess. And it's funny because like Kevin, I'm gonna do a couple things here. I'm gonna do this second, and then I do want to play the clip from Trump this morning because this is a highlight example of how I treated that friend. But before I get there, I wanted to talk about, what you're saying about like you're not going to get the same old wisdom that you would from your 72-year-old father or older wise man that is just he's been through it. And I shared with you that actually I cried pretty heavy today, and I have no problem admitting that. And there's an appropriate time to cry, and there's an inappropriate time to cry. And I cried today because I was thinking about my good friend Thor. He had wrote a couple different books. We've got a couple here. Wow, I have really bad dexterity. So we have a couple here. Like this is his main one, which is wow, I don't even know where my camera is. A dominant masculine presence. What this sparked was an entire series around other content creators and other people that have been through the fire to become the best that they can be. Right after this, we had Paul Bauer from Come On Band Podcast, and he does amazing, amazing work. So if you guys have not checked into him, definitely check him out. And he wrote about psychology and paradigms, how we view ourselves and how we can change how we view ourselves to become who we want to be instead of being stuck in the cycles of who we are. Fucking awesome book. Damn, I'm cursing a lot early on in this live stream, but it's because I'm fucking passionate about this, man. And then
I'm monetized.
Fair enough. We got AJ here, and he also wrote on psychology and emotion. So how to handle some of those emotions around the way you're viewing yourself and what you're experiencing in life. And that's just a few. I mean, we've got a whole collection, and it really is absolutely fantastic. And I don't know, man. I just I kind of started to tear up. And I've never done this exercise before. I don't know if you ever have done this. I know I heard of it online, but I wrote Thor a letter. And I just texted it to him. I know he won't get it. And that's literally how I opened it. That's what I said. I said, "Hi Thor, I know you won't get this, but I really hope you feel it." And what I had said to him is, I kind of need you right now. And it sucks to not have you. Like, you have no idea how much impact you've had on me and others. And it sucks to not be able to get that tough ass wisdom that you always gave. And that's what I think is really interesting, that with this younger generation, I don't think they even know what true brotherhood is anymore. They're getting lost in that, like ChatGPT and all those types of things. And it's getting frustrating. And I don't know if we're just boomers now, but like, even with just basic social interactions, I understand it's like large scale political, but I wanted to share the clip of how Trump reacted to announcing the ceasefire. Everybody's good. Israel, we're friends, right? Yep. All right. Thank you. Iran, we won't nuke you. All right. Good. All right. Awesome. Everybody, we're friends. Okay. Awesome. And then as soon as we're not looking at them, they just immediately go and like start bombing each other. It's like we got 12 hours left to go and hit them. And you can sense the frustration is because Trump grew up in the era where we actually had that true communication with one another instead of all this nonsense that we see today. So if you guys have not seen this, oh my God, dude, I was cracking up this morning. We gotta check this out because this was something else in how we responded to the reporters today. And quick shout out here to MTR. Oh man, I know you just got hit, man, with everything with Pop the Balloon, and I love those episodes. I love that commentary. So understand, and please don't attack me, don't strike me. But I am going to play a portion of your stuff because your reactions to this are hilarious. And I love your content, brother. And I will have you on sometime soon. But anyways, let's hear what Trump had to say this morning after the two little children, the two little quote unquote friends, decided to fight against each other.
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You understand that?
Good Lord.
Oh, not with the G walk-off.
I'm so fucking done with this shit.
He's got a football field to watch. Limping.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And what I find so absurd and what I do find hard today, and Kevin, like I know we can attest to this, at least within the Men of Now, we hold each other accountable. And the only way we grow is by holding each other accountable. And here, he's holding them accountable. It's like, what are you guys, a bunch of immature children? What are we doing anymore? And it blows my mind because like the average man nowadays is like that. It just sucks. Like most of my friends that I lost growing up, like going through high school to college and then post-grad, were all too emotional to be able to communicate effectively. You know what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it's emotional to be able to communicate effectively. I mean, the only problem that I have, not with this clip, you know, I like the way that, you know, Trump went out. This is a segue of what we're talking about, but I'm tired of this notion that the American people think they need to know everything of what's going on militarily in the world. They don't have a fucking right to know. And that's why, you know, you watch, even in our group, if you notice, one of the last things I put on our general chat, we had some members talking about very emotionally of what's going to happen because of what's going on in the Middle East. When 2003, I was in Fallujah getting that shot at. Okay. The American public didn't know about the military actions that were happening in the Middle East at that time. Right now, now it's, you know, fast forward 20 years later, now the American people thinks they need to know about a strike that happened by our military before it fucking happens. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's put out, 6 B-2 bombers just took off from Whiteman Air Force Base on their way to Iran to bomb their nuclear sites. That's where I have a big problem with the media and how they're involved with all this.
I'm gonna pause you 1 second. Let me pause you 1 second. Why are we so concerned about these minute details that do not directly affect you instead of focusing on your own life? I think about Ronnie and his business with the cars. Dude, he's killing it. And he pops in to share and show his successes and his awesome life. That's what everybody should be focused on. What happened to that?
That's because everybody's, well, we're not going to go down a rabbit hole, man. It's because everybody's glued to social media right now, and they're full of brain rot. And unfortunately, we're seeing it not only of people my age, but people older than me, and then especially younger than me, that are consuming too much of this and not doing enough of this. And what I mean by this, not throwing out punches, going out and fucking making your dent in the universe. You know, that ties into why.
I know. No. Dude, Kevin, I totally get you. It is a lot of work to order on DoorDash. And so I typically ask the girl to order it because it really is a lot of work to use these hands to order. Yeah, that's what you mean, right?
Yeah. Well, that's.
Yeah, I'm being completely sarcastic. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
It's a great point you're making.
But I mean, to take us back to why we started this, this show, the decline in male friendships, and that's, like I said in the beginning, man, we used to do things together. You had a guy down the street that you would go hunting with. You have a guy when you're building a deck on the back of your house that would come over and help you. We used to build together. It's things like we play golf together. And I get it. Okay, we're in the media, the digital generation. That's why men of now, I mean, we're digitally. But when we get together, we talk about our issues in life, not the world's issues that everybody else seems to be so concerned with. With Israel, Iran, Ukraine, Russia. Pick your side and then let's go protest for that. When no matter what way it swings, it's not going to have any effect on their lives to begin with. It didn't have effect before it started. It's not going to have an effect on their life while it's going, and it's not going to have effect on their life when it's over. So why consume your time with that instead of working on your own path, being with people that want to achieve goals, be successful, and not having to do it in silence because you feel like you have to do it on your own. A lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of ways that we can start, but the main thing that you can start as a man right now, if the question that I asked at the beginning of the show, who do you go to? Who do you turn to when life goes south? If that answers no one, I feel bad for you. That's
Dude,
the wrong.
I'll tell you what, like I've shared this story once live before, and I will share it again here. There was a time where there were certain things tied up in different brokerages, and I needed $6,000 like yesterday. Who helped me out? Somebody from the Men of Now. And we just flipped it. Everything was fine. He gets his money back. It's like a flash loan, let's say. Nothing illegal, but like a flash helping each other out. It's like, hey, I need like 2 days. Boom, done. Like, what the hell? Like, when you're stuck like that, who do you turn to? And I really do believe that most people, as they go on in life, they don't really have anybody. It's weird. Like when I hang out with some of the friends that I've had from like college or I've known like previously, they don't have any friends. And then in their free time, all they do is sit around inside. And like, I don't know how they consume their media or what they're doing, but exactly what you were saying. What do you want to focus your time on? You can be team against whatever regime is this week, or you could be team self-improvement around guys that want to do the same thing and are all doing the same thing and being the best people they can be, as well as lifting each other up to go past what your potential was.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially in modern day times, if you're not in the military, if you don't have a stake in the game, say, I don't give a fuck what's going on in the Middle East. I got my life to here to worry about. I don't give a fuck what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, because if World War III kicks off, guess what? You're not in the military, dude. There's not going to be a fucking draft. You don't have to worry about that. What do you think? Bombs going to come to the United States? Absolutely not. So stop. Well, you can have an opinion, but if your opinion is irrelevant, like me as a veteran is going to say 90% of the time it is, shut the fuck up. Go find something better to do with your time. That's like, just like I can say with ICE and all these protests that are happening with these deportations. You don't know these people that are getting deported. It's not going to affect your life where they stay in this country or they leave. So shut the fuck up and do something with your life. Stop trying to think that, oh, as long as I'm passionate about something, I'm making a difference, because you're not.
They just want a sense of belonging.
I mean,
that's what it is. They want, but that's what it is.
Short.
They want a sense of belonging. And so instead of finding your sense of belonging in one of these types of things, find it in something that's actually going to help you be a better person. Like, it's so confusing to me. If you can put all this energy into this where you don't understand all the back workings of everything, how about you obsess over yourself? There's nothing wrong with being selfish in that way. And through being selfish in that way, that's actually how I've developed a lot of my real male friendships. Like, some of my best friends actually have come out of being coaching clients. I know that sounds weird, but it's just reality because you get to know people, you get to spend time with people, and then boom, you just click. And it's awesome. I've hung out with these people in person so many times. Dude, it's so much fun. Like I just think about like all the different trips I've been to previously where we've gone to like Miami, New Orleans, Vegas, there's like two more, Atlantic City, and then I'm forgetting the last one, but it doesn't matter. That, and then even outside of that, just hanging out together, doing things together, and just talking to each other. Like, oh my God, it's awesome to like actually have fun, productive conversations with people instead of only aligning on one singular thing, which is like kind of goes back to like the NPC idea. It's like, so you're just going to stick with one principle without thinking outside of that line. So it's only this. It's only that one thing. As long as we align on this, we're friends. Dude, I've met many of those people before, and it just becomes an entirely shallow relationship. And why would you want that? Wouldn't you want like a better type of relationship where it's actually fruitful? Things shouldn't be one-sided or no-sided, because at least to me, I see a lot with granted, I'm not going to get into right and wrong and protests and whatnot on this, but wouldn't you want to be aligned with somebody who together you do better versus together you do nothing, or together you do worse? Like all I see is people coming together at these protests and whatnot and either losing and getting arrested or looking stupid, or nothing happens. I don't see any wins. So how about you surround yourself? And if you really have such an issue with the ICE policy, which I do actually have an issue with it, but that's a whole side topic. It's more about how we do immigration into here, but we'll do that a different day. But with this, what's so interesting about it is that if you can have those conversations, people, if you're going to be having those conversations with people, why don't you focus on transforming the law that exists? Because that's what the root cause. We always need to think. Let's think logically. Root cause of problems. If you're going to protest, it's not going to change anything. But if you change laws, if you vote locally, if you get more involved with this, that's what's going to change things. When you protest like this, at least in this manner, not all of them, a lot of them were peaceful. We had one right around the corner here. No problem at all. Hey, do whatever you want to do. But the violent protests and everything else, it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? It doesn't make any sense. How about we think on root cause, and then once we have root cause, we start to change that, because that means you actually believe in that. You're not just bandwagoning to pseudo have friends, because that's kind of a lot of what I've seen today is whether it's through Discord chat rooms or Telegram chats or any type of random group on the internet, it's fake friendships. It's fake friendships. Why would you want that? And so it's very confusing. And we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, Kevin, of social media. But God, man, I just miss the days where random kids playing kickball at the park, getting in random fights with random kids, just like boys being boys and just having a good time growing up.
Yeah, well, a lot of it nowadays is because especially for young men, man, I feel bad about them, because I feel bad for them, I should say, because they're not brought up with a sense of purpose. So most of them, well, I shouldn't even say young men, men in general, they've lost a sense of purpose. Other than, you got some traditional guys out there, let's find a wife, make a family, and then that even 70% of the time now is ending in divorce. But not having a purpose, because protesters don't have a purpose. They don't have a goal. They're standing up against ICE. What are you talking about? That's not a purpose. They're choosing a side and then going out and wasting their time thinking they're making a difference. And then you brought up, get involved, change the laws. I'm not a lawmaker. I don't want to be a lawmaker, dude. I get one life.
But then you don't care about it enough, and you just don't do anything about it. That's what I do. I don't care enough, so I don't do anything about it.
You're right. I don't care about it because it doesn't affect my life one way, shape, or form. You know, when everybody said and Trump didn't get reelected in 2020, oh, the country's over, everything's going to be gone. Yeah, I remember looking my family in the face. My life's not going to change one bit. And you know what? It didn't. And yours didn't either. Trump's going to get elected and the country is going to be over. Threat to democracy. Democracy is over. I said my life's not going to change, and it hasn't. And no, neither.
And you know what? You know what, Kevin? That's a good fucking point, because I'm going to drive that home right now. Even if your life does change, what do you do about it as a man of now? What do? You adapt,
figure it out for yourself,
overcome, and win.
You figure it out for
That's
yourself, and you do what's best for you and yours. You
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about everybody else. You don't worry about what they're doing. You don't worry about what happened in the Middle East. You don't want what's happening in Eastern Europe. Does that really affect your life? No. What affects your life is the decisions you make for yourself. And so many men and so many people, especially here in the West, have thought that whatever happenings over there is going to affect my life, but it doesn't. What affects your life is a decision you make now. So be a man of now. Make the decisions for yourself now that will better yourself as a man. You know, brotherhoods are not built in a weekend. They're not built in a day. You know, it's built over time. You've got to retrain your brain of what you've been thinking, especially for the last 10 years in the West, that's gotten so miscrewed. And that's why we have so many creators. I hate the fucking term influencer. Creators.
I'm a creative. I'm an influencer. Did you know I'm an influencer?
You're an influencer. Oh, okay.
I'm an influencer and a creator.
Yeah, but so am I. You know, I can say, I can self-proclaim but that's why we have so many guys out there right now, douchebags, that can sell an $1,800 eating program to some AFC. If you don't know what that's, average frustrated chump. If you're in the space as long as I have, to little kids out there that think that that's going to change their fucking life. Oh, I see. He drives a Lambo. It's a rented Lambo in his rented mansion with his fake ass gold chain. That's what people gravitate towards now. That's not going to turn you into a man. Those guys aren't men. But that's what we've become because people aren't making decisions for themselves. So the space has gotten very fucked up, no doubt, but it's starting to change, which is I'm very happy about. You know, it's a call to action, and a lot of people are starting to understand that, and that's what I love, man. Because gentlemen, here, this world doesn't need more lone wolves. Tribes survive. The lone hunter doesn't eat very well, and he usually dies. I will say that, and I've said it just like that in so many different ways. But, you know, like the initial question that I asked, who do you turn to when life goes south? If you don't have an answer, man, you need to start figuring out who that person, who those people, who that fraternity you can be a part of could be, man, because there's a lot of them out there. A lot of them are allies of men now. Some of them, we got a couple of that don't like us, but that's where the competition, that's where the ego comes in it. We don't allow that to affect us. I'm not going to allow it to affect me because just like the Middle East, whatever happens on their side doesn't affect my life. It's not going to affect yours either, you know, but start thinking about that for yourself. If you don't have some really good friends or at least some really good mentors out there that when things go to shit that are not going to try to fix things for you, but that can get down on the fire, man, and help you through it, you might want to start looking at joining digital groups like we have and fraternities like we have, you know, because men of now, I mean, we're going places. We've been around for what, year and a half now. And
we've been around for a while, and we've been building, and we are deeply connected, and we are sharpening iron, and I love it.
Yeah, you know, we've seen not only have I seen great leveling up from our members, but it's helping me as well. And that's what it's all about, man.
Dude, you know what? Let's hone in on that. That's what's so cool about it, because you see, I throw in things into the chat sometimes where I'm actually asking for help. And part of that is just to get the discussion going, and make sure that I am double checking myself. And it's, dude, when you have like a mass group of people that you have certain people that everybody has their skill set, and you have these people that will self check you and make sure that you're not messing up. Like sometimes it's just a sanity check, but like to have people you can trust for that sanity check on your decisions, dude, it's a complete world of difference. And like that's why I just started the whole the career stuff that we're going to be doing, because I really want to help guys get to the point where I'm at with my career as well. It's fun, I enjoy it, and I'm successful. And there's just so many minute things that nobody teaches you along the way. And now all these guys have this avenue where we're just bouncing things off each other. It's like, dude, how do I go from like 150 to 200,000? How do I go from 200,000 to 300,000? Like those are the types of conversations. Like it's wild to me. And it's just from trying to form that. And it blows my mind that is so lost, and it's like looked down upon. Like you especially see in media, they shame men's groups. And I don't get why.
They don't understand it. But the ones that get the most exposure are the ones that are total toxic red pill, type stuff. It's not the ones that have evolved from red pill ideology and don't subscribe, because that gets the most allows for the most scrutiny, especially from the media and that kind of stuff. Oh, well, look what they said here. Tate and his brother, I mean, they were deep in that realm for a while, and they brought light to men's organizations, groups. I mean, they got the Real World, they had the War Room. There's so many out there that are beneficial to some, but for most. But even though, I mean, what I'm so proud of, Andrew and Tristan, they've evolved. They're no longer just the hard-nosed masculine, basically patriarchy people that they are. I mean, it may have been because they've thrown in jail a few times for no reason. I'm not saying that they're guilty or innocent or anything, but they've evolved. Now they're starting to learn, okay, this ran its course. It had its place in the space for a very short period of time, but the ones that tried to stick with it, Anthony Johnson, you guys, you notice they're not relevant anymore, because they tried to stay with that same mantra of women bad, women suck, hold them accountable, not evolve and being a better man that women can respect, that you're looking for, that you're demanding. You don't ever have to work on yourself. You're just a man. You should be respected just because you have a dick and balls. Not how to be the man that earns that respect, earns that leadership, earns that patriarchy. That really is what makes it what it is. And so I love that it is starting to shift away from that. It had held its time for a while of having the red pill space, which has quickly become the black pill space. And now we have things like the gold pill. We have groups like the Men of Now that we don't subscribe to any pills. We don't take medication. We do things a little bit different. We're all just about being the best men we can be and not worry about what others fucking think about it. And that's where the truth really lies, in my opinion.
No, ain't that the truth? And I think that's what's so beautiful about this. It's like graduating the red pill. I know you were back in the pickup artist days, and I was back in like the initials of red pill when Rollo had conglomerated everything together and had pushed it out. Mm-hmm. And it made a lot of sense. Like it was just one of those things where it's like, wow, this, like everything that's said here makes logical sense and matches to each and every experience I've had before. So maybe there is something here, but nobody moves past it. And I find it absolutely crazy that nobody's moved past it. And I do have a buddy backstage. So buddy backstage, hit me up in the private chat if you're ready for me to bring you on, because I want to talk about you, and I actually want to highlight you, and don't let your ego go too far. But there's so many people that when you level up yourself, people naturally gravitate towards you. And what I find so interesting, like especially like since I'm a dating coach, what I've worked with people is like some people can lead really well with how they present themselves. That's kind of how I would say money. Some people lead really well with looks. I mean, that again, how you present yourself. Some people can look or can work really good based on the verbal game, which is essentially game. I know that sounds stupid for those who don't understand all the different things I'm talking about. But then there's also frame, and it's how you control the interactions. Frame is crazy. When you know how to control frame no matter what, you can control anything. So everybody wastes their time and spins their wheels on so many different things when all you had to do was just level up your different charisma points. Like anybody ever play Oblivion? You just level up the different points everywhere, and all of a sudden you become a god in the game. And if you max one out, which for me was always verbal, max game, master the word, it was cake, dude. Dude, I beat out everybody. You have like a 6'2", 6'3" guy, absolutely jacked, and I just walk up and say stupid shit like, I have diarrhea. And I still get the girl. Because it's like how you flow afterwards. And it's crazy that we're not focusing on that. And that's what we should be focusing on. Because when you focus on those things, it's also important to how you actually connect with the other. Like she should be focusing on improving herself and being the best available product. And you should be the best available buyer on the market. And then you come together and it creates a beautiful yin and yang between you two. It doesn't seem complicated. So without further ado, I got to bring on my ex-husband, but very good friend, Mr. Glenn Lawrence.
First of all, I'm glad you got the title right. I am husband, your wife. How you guys doing?
Doing
Fantastic, dude. I'm loving talking about this because it really is so confusing. Why men can't be friends today. They get so emotional about everything.
Why my men get emotional about everything?
It's not just that. What we're talking about is the decline in male friendships now. You know, I know you're busy. You missed the start of the show, but when I worked it out with the monologue, you know, it's times have changed, and definitely understand that. But you know, we used to, as men, you know, we used to hunt together. We used to build together. You know, we used to do things together. And I get it. We live in a different time, but having male friendships, like not everybody's going to be your best friend, but having the person that you can go to when things go south, for a lot of men, especially young men, it's drying up.
No, let's do this. Hold on, Kev. I don't mean to cut you off. Let's ask Glenn that question. So
hold
Glenn,
on a second. Hold on. I'm getting it set up to go to my audience. Give you guys some viewers. Not saying you don't have viewers.
All right, I'll give you a moment, but Kevin, I want you to ask him that question that you asked the entire audience at the very beginning, and I want to see how he answers. I think that would be really interesting to like then dive into as we dive further into what you're talking about. We don't get hands-on anymore. We don't go hunt. We don't just spar. We don't just play kickball. We don't do any of that stuff. So
Okay.
I'm really interested.
It's not a foreign question. It's not anything out of the realm. Yeah, but
Cool.
I'd love to get your response. Let me know when
All
you're
right.
ready. I mean,
I'm ready. Go ahead. Fire away. Fire away.
Like I said, I talking to our audience, you know, do you have someone when things go south? You know, when a relationship falls apart, when career is becoming unbearable, besides family, do you have someone that you know you can go to, and not just to fix things, but get in the fire? Do you get in the fire with you? You know,
Like who's gonna, like Glenn, who's gonna pick you up, or who's gonna come meet you at 2 a.m. at the bar, at the motorcycle bar, and help you beat the ass of the other guy who's causing problems, or even the whole gang of the guys causing problems, and gonna take you home after?
Well, it can't be AJ. AJ always tells me he's not bailing me out of jail. You know, it was Thor. For me. And I have guys that I'm close with, that I'm tight with, but nobody that I knew, like if I said like, yo, I need your help, I can't tell you about it, you can't ask any questions, I just need you to go with me. And the only response they say is, whose car are we taking? I'm still figuring that out now, because that was Thor, but I do got guys that I know I could go to, that I do go to.
But how did you meet those guys?
Either like through networking, through like our, the dragons, and Thor, or like with the other guy, I would say Bjorn. Bjorn is my number 2 guy. Like I go to him, like we call it confession, because it's like the things that I'm struggling with, or the things that I'm dealing with, that if the public knew, then they'll take it or twist it, or they'll just like try to trash me with it. You need to have that confidant, that safe person, that's not even necessarily safe, but that secure person that is not going to use your moments of vulnerability, or moments of where you need to just like just gain some wisdom, or you're stuck on something. They're not going to use that against you. I just answered this question from a member of my community the other day. I got a question. It's like, all of his friends made fun of him now because they made a meme out of him, because he was vulnerable. He was going through something, and he needed a shoulder to cry on, basically. And they took a picture of him and they made a meme out of him, and they passed it around. I'm like, well, you ain't got real friends.
Yeah, those aren't friends.
If those are your friends, and they are the worst kind of friends, because you need better friends. Because I know for anytime if I called Bjorn and was like, yo, I need you right now, he will drop what he's doing, give me his full attention. His dad passed away over a year ago. I was one of the few people that he called, and he needed me to be that person for him, and I was there for him. We talked about it. And
that's massive.
We have this
how did you meet him? How did you meet Bjorn?
It's funny. I was on Twitter, and I was advertising when I was doing this series called Everyday Heroes, right? And I was doing interviewing a bunch of blue collar people, tradesmen and stuff, that to highlight trade jobs. Well, Bjorn just retired from the Army, and him and I have shared, training. He was EOD, I was pararescue. We have very similar, not really career paths. He likes to blow shit up and almost get blown up. I like to patch people up that get blown up. Kind of cross paths, but we were talking, and we shared similar like experiences coming back from the military. And I already got out before him, so I was able to, navigate a little bit more. He was just getting out from being retired. So it was like he was just in the beginning of that transition phase from going from active duty military to civilian life again. And it's really hard, because it's like, man, I don't relate. When I first got out, I didn't relate with civilians. I'm like, everybody's late. Everybody is weird. They got guys wearing girl pants, and they're in their feelings all the damn time. Like, it was hard to relate with people. And so we connected on this like understanding of like, yo, we've been through some shit. We've seen some shit. We understand this shit. And it's hard to find guys that you could joke about or joke with, like people, because we have really bad dark humor, like really bad dark humor. But that's a military coping mechanism. It's how you handle things. So, and Bjorn's a few years older than me, so he has a lot of wisdom. And I connected him and Thor together. So it was really cool, because Thor and Bjorn became friends. And when Thor passed, it was like easy for Bjorn to fill that role, because I was already confiding in him, with things. And so like, it was just this great transition that I had my mentor also, and my friend who was going to be the new confidant in this area, kind of like be on the same page, and they vibed together. They both were Vikings, so it was just easy for that transition for me.
Mhm.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Yeah, it's God, I tell you, like how did you even meet Thor? Because like I'm thinking about it right now. I only met Thor because I joined MLD's group, and I think MLD actually may be streaming soon, or he's going to be streaming tonight. He's coming back to YouTube. He took a little vacay.
Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to John the other day when I was in Florida. I hit him up. I was like, "Yo," because he came out to Vegas. I couldn't get out there because this was shortly after Thor passed, and I was still helping out with Missy and them. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been meaning to link up.
Yeah, and it's like it's just funny like how I came, and it just I was seeking something, because when we talk about like how to find somebody like a confidant, how to find somebody you really connect with, how to really find the core people that are going to be true lifelong friends, how do you even go about it? And I think it requires work in the same way of finding the right girl for the rest of your life if you're looking for that, or just to be a good player in the game. How do you get there? You need to find the right people, but you only find that through searching. And I think a lot of guys have stopped searching, and instead they just pay $5 for OnlyFans and call it there.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, shout out to EOD. I see you in the chat, man. Salute to you, sir. Good guy.
Shout out to you, brother.
You know, I think, you know, it's men, we vet people, or we respect people based off merit. You know, we are very merit based, right? We want to know what you have. What up, Iwan? We want to know what you have accomplished. What is your record? You know, like what is that? What is that? You know, what have you done with your life, right? And you know, everybody that I like to surround myself with is better than me. Like I like to be the weakest link, because that means I have a lot. They push me to grow. Like Bjorn, you know, he sees the world differently, and he challenges me to, you know, step out of my purview and take a look at things from other perspectives. Whether I feel like I'm right or wrong, it's irrelevant, but understanding the other perspective, he forces me to do that every time we talk. And I'm just like, I hate you. Just shut up and just say what I want you to say. And, you know, so with everybody else in my life, the other friends, they are great in their areas of, you know, what they do. You know, like with AJ's great at doing, you know, the server stuff. I'm getting into it, you know, to a degree. And he's a wide, vast of knowledge. Same thing with Paul Bauer. Paul Bauer is great when it comes to creating his programs, marketing his stuff. Like the man is flawless with it. He's great, does great. They're all better than me in these areas that I'm deficient in. So I'm always trying to like level up to their level. If you're the best person in the room, most smartest person, and more successful person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're only going down from there.
Yeah, so I always like, even with females, like Gia McCool. I was with Gia McCool this weekend. Her brother Aaron Reed, who played the Juggernaut in the movie Deadpool. Like the dude is 6'6". I don't ever look up to somebody like that. My neck was hurting from looking up to him. But even him, he's a great bodybuilder, competitor. He knows that I've, you know, competed and I want to get back into it. That's going to be a new coach right there. That's somebody hell, what do I need to do now, coach? You know, like have no problem being the student with your friends, learn from them, you know. And you said, why don't guys get together anymore? Because as much as technology has advanced and has been good, like we are able to be in 3 different places right now, have this conversation, see each other, stream it to multiple channels all at the same time. That's great. Technology advances, wonderful. But what it also done is it's isolated men. Now we don't have to go out anymore. I could just talk to somebody on the phone, playing video games, or playing video games with my headphone and talk. I don't do that. I don't know what you guys do, but like, we rely on these devices for everything rather than in-person communication and interaction.
Dude,
you know,
imagine the difference. Just think about that for a second. Coming home to your wife in a business suit and being like, honey, I got the fucking deal. I got the contract. Versus walking into the other room on your phone in your underwear oh, I got the contract. What's more impressive? A hard day at work and the surprise, or you walking into the other room and being like, oh yeah, he signed it?
Well, I think like even if like I don't think like even if you are working from home or working at a business out of the house, I don't think that so much is the issue. It's the lack of like personal communication, interaction in person, right? If you, let's say you were driving home and you just texted her, got the deal, and she replied it with a yay smiley face or whatever, like that's different than
LOL, take
home,
another 15 and
grab
the time
her,
run.
like you grab her, hug her real, baby, we got the deal. That is different. That's in person, that connection. Or like I went to a buddy of mine's album release party. This album he took a good 2 years to put together. There was a lot of struggles with it. I shot one of the music videos, and even that was on a very low budget. I mean, basically no budget, and we were able to make it work. And he got an award. He got signed to Sony. I'm happy for him. Now he's making great money. I'm going to be collabing with him on podcasting because he has a show called The After Party. My late night show is called The After Hours. So we're going to be collaborating together soon. He just got a studio built out. So it's just
is this the guy that I met?
I don't know if you met Fattel.
Okay, no. But I'm just
Actually,
thinking
you did meet
Fatal.
Fatal. You did meet Fatal, the one that came on.
Oh, Fatal. I thought you said
yeah.
Fatal. Yeah, Fatal. When we did the rap battle.
Yeah,
he's a good guy, dude.
Yeah,
Definitely.
no, like me and him have been doing a lot of work together. Like, we were at birthday parties. Like we link up. We go to Vegas. We go work out with True over there. Eminem's producer. Like, we do things. We actively do things together. We go to the gym every once in a while. And you need that. You have to have that sharpening of iron, and you have to have that in-person connection. If you don't, it just kind of like it's so easy to overlook, and you don't realize what you're really missing. You have to
take it serious. It's easy. Because we talked about earlier, brain rot. The excessive scrolling. I'm guilty of it too, man. It's you have to realize that that's not really beneficial to your life. But I think it's cool. I asked the question like I did at the beginning of the show. Who do you turn to? And you were able to think of somebody. And unfortunately, a lot of young men out there, they can't. They don't have that person that they think they can go to. And then you talked about the one friend. He thought he had friends, but then he tried to open up and not get his problem fixed, but just have somebody get in the fire with him, and friends made a meme out of him. So of course those are not real friends. And it sucks that you have to go through experiences like that to realize that, not only even in person, that some of the people around you are not really who you think they are. But you have to have some failures to realize that, maybe I need to find a new tribe. Maybe I need to, because I'm a firm believer, a man is only as strong as the men around him, and these days, you have online groups, you have one Glenn, we have one at Midham now, you have to have those strong men around you. And if those people aren't pushing you, if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, but bring a couple of those guys that have the potential to be in that other room with you, and that's where a lot of people are lacking nowadays, man. And also,
people don't like accountability. Men don't like accountability. We want to hold women accountable. We want them to be held accountable. No problem. That's what this whole pushback on feminism is wanting accountability for women. But reality is men don't want to be held accountable.
Yeah.
And
nobody wants to be held accountable. It's embarrassing.
No, I pay people to hold me accountable. Like, I love accountability.
Here's my job application. I'm ready.
Like I like the girl that works for me, she, hits me up. Did you go to the gym today? No, not yet. You need to get your ass to the gym. Yep, you're right. And let me know when you're there. Cool. Or when she's like, hey, did you get the notes for that interview done yet? Oh shit, haven't got to yet. I was like, you need to stop what you're doing. You need to make sure you get those interview notes. I asked you 3 times already. Cool, you're right. It's that accountability is important. And guys, everybody, flees from it. They get Accountability. It's gross. Get it away from me. You know,
what are we so scared of? That's really the question. What are we so scared of? We're scared of being rejected.
Fear.
We don't want to have to answer to someone.
Yeah, but it's your life, so live it how you want it. Don't be embarrassed for doing something somebody doesn't accept. Like, who cares? Like, I don't like going hiking at like 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Does that like mean we can't be friends? Absolutely not. And like
no. But what it is like if I say I'm gonna do something, the accountability is this person is holding me to my word, is calling me out when I don't follow through with what I say.
But and most people can't take that.
No, most people don't want that. They want to avoid that. They have no problem holding you accountable. They'll have no problem calling out your shortcomings.
Of course.
But they do not want someone else to call them out. And I hated it growing up. And it wasn't until I got in the military that I enjoyed it because it protected me. I realized being accountable keeps you in this zone where you are, if you're doing good, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, what problems can you really have? Right? You're not going out there, fucking up. You're not going out there dropping the ball. You stay on point, then you're always going to be a primed engine roaring, and you're not going to have breakdowns. You're not going to have mess ups as much. And that equals success. And, I realized when I first got into the red pill space, I enjoyed accountability from, mentors and friends, but I would avoid accountability from relationships that I was in. I ain't gonna let that woman tell me what to do. I'm the man of this house. She submits to me. Submit, bitch. Like that was the mentality. And that I realized that played a negative factor in relationships that I had because I've been willing to be accountable to anybody else but her, but I expected her to be accountable to me. And I realized there's this give and take even in that relationships. But if you can't even have it in that relationship, you're not going to be able to have it in your friend relationships because your friend relationship is not as emotionally invested in, vulnerable to the degree as your intimate relationship with your spouse or your significant other will be. And I realized is that there was a problem in me when it came to that with accountability. And that's where I think the biggest problem with friends groups, why guys are not be able to be friends anymore with people. One thing that I require, like Rolo has said some really foul shit about me. All right. And everybody's like, can you guys make it work? Yeah, I have no problem. I could let it go. But he needs to make a public apology or right the wrong that he did publicly. Then we're good. That's the accountability that I have for him. Right. That's what I expect from my people. Right. And vice versa. It goes to anybody. Like if there was something done that was misrepresented.
Dude, you yell at me all the time. But that's why we're friends. Because what's the one thing, and I actually saved this for when you came on. The one thing that is always stuck that you said to me, I wouldn't be hard on you. I wouldn't even bring it up if I didn't care about you. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a valid point. But Glenn, I want to take it back a little bit. You talked about the female that you said.
Hold on, Kevin. Sorry.
No,
I just want to pause. I want to pause so I don't lose this. Is that okay?
Go.
I just want to say, because I don't know your chat, Glenn. I just want to say, Toxic Angel, I don't know what's going on with you, but I do want to let you know that I have like a really bad ulcer right now. And for the first time in my life, I started puking blood the other week. Well, not the other week, like a couple days ago. So hope you're okay. I am feeling better, which makes me feel better. Sounds like you're feeling better. Hang in there. We're going to make it through. All right. Sorry, Kevin. Go ahead. It just that stuck out to me because of what went on recently.
No, I think Toxic is I think he's on the mend. I think they thought that he had something, but they found out it was acid reflux or something like that. And he's
that's what my issue is. Yo, if you work well with garlic, dude, I made a garlic soup with garlic chicken broth and rice last night. And oh my God, did it heal my gut biome like nothing else. It's unbelievable. So
Toxic, are we still going hunting? Are we going moose hunting?
I do want to get back to Kevin.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin. I really did not want to derail. It's just this is so near and dear to my heart right now when I see cancer and what's going on with me and then with them. So I just, sorry.
Yeah, we're going elk hunting. Sorry. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
No, Glenn, like you were talking about earlier, the female that you got in your life when you said hold you accountable. He said, "Did you go to the gym today?" And you said, "No, I didn't." And she was like, "Well, you better stop what you're doing, get to the gym." A lot of times, especially nowadays, when you have people that you think are on your side, you got to watch out for the ones that when you say the day before, "I'm going to the gym," and they text you, "Did you go to the gym?" "No, I didn't." "Oh, that's okay, man. You can do it tomorrow. You know, that's what, let's go grab some beers anyway, since you're not going to go."
Yeah. That person's setting you up for failure. Yeah, you know? That's the one. Those guys are setting you up for failure. They want to see your demise.
Yeah, because they haven't been to the gym in 3 months, you know, so they, you know, if he starts missing the gym, he'll look like me, or he can be on my level, and then we can compete and get back. So I would say that if you're telling people, first lead by example. If you want to be a leader, lead by example. Do what you say you're going to do, and be a leader that way. Don't be a leader of do as I say, not as I do, but be on the lookout for those types of friends that you think you have in your life, that if you say, even if you feel bad about it, "I didn't make it to the gym today," but they don't reinforce the negative of not doing what you said you were going to do. And because there's people out there, call them snake in the grass, call them whatever you want, but they secretly want to see you fail, even though they'll put on the front. You see a lot in business, but I don't get close with business associates. That's what they are. But be on the lookout for those that will be the opposite of what Glenn was talking about, the person that was holding them accountable. You know, "Did you go to the gym today?" No, I didn't make it yet." Well, stop what you're fucking doing. Get to the gym. You said that's what you're going to do. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Watch out for the ones that say, "Oh, no, that's okay, man. You're already in good shape. Yeah, you can miss a day or two. Let's go grab a beer." Those are the people that you want to watch out for.
Yep. No, and you want to watch out for the people that see, like I am very, if your friends can't celebrate your success,
yeah,
that's a problem. Like I am happy for my friends. I have a friend that's a streamer. His name's Flow State. I think he just made like top 20 or top 10 like most super chat channels on like for that day or whatever. And I'm like, dude, congratulations. Like, I am happy for you. I'm like, yeah, he's made more money than me. I'm happy for him. You know, like he reached out to me to help him with the stuff.
That's brilliant. That's one of the things that Josh is not here with us tonight, but one of the things that Josh has always said and always resonates with me, and I've carried on with every small group, large group, whatever, whoever I'm with, whoever my friends are. If I am eating at the table, I don't want to be eating at that table if I'm not eating with my friends. We all come up together, and I love it. It resonates so much.
Like I even the smallest bit of advice, like I give people, like, you know, when I'll use Flow State for example, he was getting ready to invest in upgrading his equipment. He reached out to me. I went through it all with him. We got the same mic. He got pretty much a similar setup as I do. And he's blowing up. And that little bit of information may have helped him contribute to his growth and his success. And I'm happy for him. Just I want my team to win. I want people to do better. I want them to do better than me, so I have something to aspire to try to reach. Like everybody knows that I do not worry about where I'm at. I know where I'm going to go. My job is to lift up as many people as I can so that when there's going to be a day where I'm going to need lifting up. Right. And it's what Thor, the main thing that Thor was talking to me about towards the end of his life was having what he calls what is enlightened self-interest. Helping others helps you. Helping others reach their success and solve the problems in their life comes back to you, right? And so if you don't have, instead of an enlightened selfishness interest, which a lot of people, a lot of creators have. And I know that we were talking about like why real male friendships like suck, because everybody is so selfish. They're about themselves. They want their success. We got creators attacking creators here. If all these men are like dedicated to helping each other or helping men get better, then you should be uplifting other creators, you know, helping them, not trying to battle them for the piece of the pie that they have so that your pie is better or bigger. Like that's what we have now. It's all about the money thing. And when you chase the money, when you chase that as the goal, which a lot of things that we see here, then we lose people. We lose good men that were going to be good mentors, that would have been good, you know, leaders, to this point of, you know what, why even get involved? Every time I get involved, somebody's stabbing me in the back. I have
you down,
I have more blades in me than a pincushion, you know. And it's like, why even worry about trying to invest in these guys or trying to go out there when I'm going to get attacked, you know? Like that's sad that we have to deal with that in this men's space that's supposed to be a space for men to learn, to be equipped with knowledge and wisdom, and instead they have to worry about being snaked by somebody that they're supposed to be fighting this battle side by side with.
Exactly,
dude. It's crazy because when I think about it, it's like everything is like competing for the views, but like where's the message? And I thought that everybody in this space when I came into it was like hyper mature and like totally had it figured out. Oh my God, did I not realize I was walking into Mean Girls?
Oh yeah, no, I think this space is full of I think the space is full of narcissists, you know, guys dealing with narcissism, you know, to a degree. I mean, think about it. You have to have some level of narcissism to put yourself out there. Oh yeah. It's me included. Like, you know, there's some level of narcissism that you have where, you know, to put yourself out there, to be like, hey, I got solutions, or I got answers. Hear me out, you know?
You take a potentially negative characteristic of yourself and turn
Justin is a complete narc.
Well, you know, Glenn, you brought up a great point, man. It's about uplifting, you know, celebrating the successes of others, especially the ones that you helped get there, maybe indirectly or directly. But, you know, I'm a veteran myself, you know, joined the Army back in 2002. One thing, when I was a junior enlisted, I think 2004, I was in Fallujah, Iraq, and my platoon sergeant, he was E7 at the time, he's long retired. He said something back then that still makes a lot of sense to me, because he was always helping. Let's get you to the promotion board. Let's do this. He said, my goal as an NCO, if non-commissioned officer, people that watch and don't know what that is, it's, you know, it's not the officer ranks, it's the enlisted ranks. He said, my goal is to get you where I'm at. At that time it was E7, I was E4. You know, my goal is to get you where I'm at. If you pass me, that's on me. But at least I got you to where I'm at, because somebody else got me here. So I'm here to get you there as well. And I've taken not only that phrase, my goal is to get you where I'm at. If you pass me, that's on me. Not only the military, I've been out of active duty for, you know, almost 10 years now. I've used that in my professional life as well. And I use that with the guys that we work with in the Men of Now, the guys that I work with in financial coaching. I've used that, and it made a lot of sense. And if a lot of men would take that type of outlook, instead of being the, okay, I want to remain the mentor, you will always be the subordinate, you will always be the trainee. If you stick with that mantra, you're only going to last so long, because somebody might come along and teach you things that you taught 5 years ago. Now they're teaching you things. And if you're not acceptable to that, and if you're not ready to take what they're teaching you, then your downfall is right around the corner, buddy.
Yep. You know, it's like the goal is to, just like Thor said, a rising tide lifts all ships. Yes, sir. We are going to do your debate. Don't worry, I'm sending you a link soon. You know, a rising tide lifts all ships. And if you're not invested in your fellow brethren, and lifting them up, if you're only going after what you could get out of them, you know, you're gonna, nobody does it alone. That's what I hate when people think like, oh, I did this for myself. No, when I was competing, I had a coach. I had a coach that, you know, was a fitness coach. He kept my nutrition on point, my lifting schedule on point. And then I had another coach that was just for my posing practice, that helped me practice the poses and the flex. I have an acting coach. I have a coach that I go to, Michelle Danner. Same one as what's his name? The guy from 300. You know, same coach as him. And it's like my coach helps me prepare for the roles, right? I had a coach teach me how to do the production side of things. Like, there's always a coach. Nobody does it alone. And this mentality is like, I'm a lone wolf, you know? Yes, Anson, you are my cooming coach because you coom all the time. You coomer. You know, it's like if you think you could do it alone, you're lying to everybody. You're lying to everybody by selling to you like, oh, I'm this lone wolf. I do it all.
No,
by
you're
myself.
not lying to anybody but yourself. You're lying to yourself.
And this is the mentality that you have to do it alone. Is stupid. You need a team. You know, you need, you know, people by your side that could pick up the slack where you fail. You need to have, you know, Gerard Butler. There you go. Thank you, Justin. You need to have, you know, people that are more proficient than you in areas so that you could lean on and gain some wisdom and understanding. But this mentality that, you know, you need to do it alone or you got it all by yourself, you're going to fail. Every time I've ever tried to launch something, a project or something like that on my own, it crashed and burned. And I have a problem. I do have a problem with taking everything on myself because I know I can't trust anybody else.
Say, Glenn.
Yeah, because I have been.
I don't
shown.
know if everybody knows our history, but we've done many projects together, and every single time you have to do everything, and then you end up working 23-hour days, and you're not sleeping, and you're delirious. And I'm like, Glenn, I can help.
The project gets done, and it looks great, It still looks great. But the thing is I have learned that every time I have put trust in people, like, hey, can you take this on? Take this task, right? They drop the ball or they don't do it to the degree that it needed to be done. So instead of being mad at people, I just took it on. And that was wrong for doing that. What I should have done was surrounded myself with better people that were going to be able to follow through and or meet a standard, you know, and or also know that they know the standard so that they're not meeting a lesser standard than I expect. Right. So that was a me thing. That was a learning lesson for me, surrounding myself with the right people and the right caliber of people in order to do these jobs. Cause you get burned out. You're like, I'm carrying the weight for everybody else here. I'm shouldering it on and everybody's riding on my coattails. Now you feel a certain way about your friends.
It creates
it was a covert contract.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's choosing wisely between the people that you want to help you on certain projects or especially ventures. You know, sometimes friends aren't the best ones. You know, sometimes you need people that you just know have the same vision, the same goal. You don't have, I mean, we're not all going to be friends, even in the men of now. I mean, we're not all best friends, but we're still there for each other when we need. And we're still there to say not what we think you need to hear, but I'm sorry, but not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear at certain times. So, and I think that's a lot more important than just being a yes man to your friends, because if you're that person or you've got some of those in your group, it's time to pull them aside and say, hey man, I want you to start thinking for yourself. I'm ready for you to start becoming your own purpose that you want for yourself. And unfortunately, men don't hear that anymore. You know, we talk about it, you know, of course, we're red pill-esque and everything. You know, we talk about, you know, women are brought up only to what expect from men. And then young men are only brought up how to treat women. And unfortunately, that's true in a lot of aspects. But when you have someone that can actually sit you down and tell you the truth and try to help you and you learn from it, that's what's more important than just going with the flow.
Oh yeah, I've had friends tell me straight up, dude, you're fucking up. And they will get in my ass, and I'm like, okay, tell me how you really feel. And I appreciate that because it keeps me grounded. And like I said, like I told Huds years ago, because he got mad at me for always getting in his ass. And I told him, like, look, man, I wouldn't say shit. If I didn't give a fuck about you, I wouldn't say shit. I'll let you go run in the street, in the freeway, play tag, blindfolded, and let you get hit, But because I give a damn, I want to see you succeed. I'm telling you this because you're gonna fuck up. You're gonna set yourself up for failure. And that's. I'm not saying it to be a dick or make you do it my way. I'm telling you this because I want you to be successful and not run into these hurdles, because I've already ran through them. I ran through all the obstacles, and I continually to crash my head on certain obstacles. And I'm trying to give you this warning so you could avoid them and get further ahead than I did at this stage of my life, and there's some people that I don't say shit to. I'm like waiting for them to go crash. I'm like,
waiting for them to fail because it's so funny when they do. I understand exactly what you mean, man. And you may not be as elegant at it as Thor was.
I have no plan on being elegant.
I'm not as elegant at it as Thor was, but it's such a difference. If somebody is pointing out a problem, it's not because they're worried about, maybe at your work, I don't know, depends, but they're pointing it out to you because they care. Understand that and understand the perspective they're coming from. Don't take everything personally, which for some reason a lot of society today seems to do.
Oh God, yeah, no, there's no such thing as thick skin anymore, especially for young men, and it's not their fault, and I'm a firm believer in that. For me, I just know when I see potential in somebody and they're not living up to it, that's when I get a little bit more passionate about it. And then when they don't have thick skin and they take things personally, I tried not to just back off at that point, and I don't continue to drill in the point. I just try to let them know where I'm coming from. Like Glenn was saying, I've been there, I've done that, man. I've learned from my mistakes. Don't make them yourself. If you choose to do that, that's on you. But having thick skin and being able to take some constructive criticism is pretty imperative to a man to better and level up in life. And I know that's hard for some people to understand because you were raised up that you're a little snowflake. And I don't mean that in the left wing sense, that you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. You just have to dream it and it can happen. You don't have to put in the work, but that's not how reality works. And unfortunately, so many young men are brought up with that all the way up until they leave the nest, so to speak. And then they realize that life doesn't really work that way and nobody gives a fuck about your feelings. And it's a swift kick in the nuts. So the faster you can find that thick skin and learn to take some advice for what it's worth and apply it where you need it to, the better off you're going to be, because the longer you resist it, and you got to learn to read between the lines. Not all advice is great advice, but the good advice that comes your way, apply it, put your ego aside and go with it. And get on their level, the better off you're going to be, because we can't do it alone. Nobody.
Before we continue this, hold on. Before we continue this, I want to highlight this comment because this is based. When I started to explode in my career, I know I look like such a professional. When I started to explode in my career and everything that I did, it was showing gratitude. But the thing that I want to hone in on here, you show gratitude publicly and you shame privately. And that's one thing when I started my own business and then I have employees, it's like, oh my God, it changes the entire company culture when you do show that gratitude publicly and shame and confront privately. And that's such a great point that you're putting there. Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, no, I was going to say what Kevin was, what it sounded like, that's how women were raised. In a degree, I think a lot of young men have adopted this. I mean, we have a lot of single moms and stuff, and we have adopted this mentality of how to be more like defected girls. And I think that is part of a problem that we see. Guys are more passive aggressive now. They're not very direct. Like if you have a problem with somebody, like the way I say is like, if you have a problem with me, and if you're telling everybody else but me that you have a problem with me, I'm not taking it serious until you come to me and be like, I have a problem with you. Here is my problem. Because men, we would go to each other. Here's my grievances. Here's my beef, you know, and, you know, it's not like, oh, we got to square up and fight. It's, you know, we have to address this. We have a problem. You know, I had somebody in my community reach out to me, and he's like, yo, I'm hearing a lot of shit. I need you to fucking clear this up. Right. And I spent like 5 hours on the phone with him, receipt after receipt after receipt, giving him the due time that was necessary for him to have that, you know, relationship and respect again, that he understood. Okay, I get what you're saying. I'm glad I see the picture clearly now. I'm glad I reached out to you before assuming anything, because I was on the path of assuming something rather than giving you the due respect that you needed to answer this question, you know. And but guys don't do that anymore. They're very passive aggressive about it. They'll just create distance, or, you know, not be around, you know, around you as much, and or like not interact. And you're like, what happened to dude? And if until you tell me something, I'm assuming everything is cool.
Yeah, and if you want to create the distance, you know, if something's wrong, that's fine, but leave it at that. Shut the fuck up about it. Don't try to make it something to somebody else when you haven't taken it to that person. And unfortunately, like we were talking about, you know, the young men that are raised these days with a, you know, a somewhat feminine mindset that, oh, I don't want to cause trouble because it might turn into a fight or something like that. But I mean, me and Glenn, I mean, we're about the same age. To throw hands, I mean, it's got to be something a lot worse than talking about the problems. You know what I'm saying? If you had an issue, you bring it up, you squash it out. If you can't squash it out, then you part ways. That's the best thing.
Like, my thing is, like, if you want to throw hands, you calling me names and saying that's not going to do it. You have to threaten my bodily harm, and you got to tell me you want to take me. Okay, as soon as you touch me, then we're throwing hands. I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I recover. It's not, you know, it's not as easy. You know, like my joint.
Nowadays, that shit fucking hurts, man. I don't have.
You know,
I don't even want that, man.
I mean, if I do,
or that's why I have a concealed carry permit. You know what I'm saying? If it goes that far, you know, at the end of the day. But I mean, a lot of people don't, you know, especially young people that are coming up nowadays, they would rather just push it off, let it build, and let it turn into something more than it ever had to be, than just sitting down and talking about it. You know, and that I implore all young men nowadays, if you're feeling like you're being wronged at work, if you feel like you're being wronged in your relationship, if you feel like you're being wronged by your family and even your friends, don't be afraid to bring it up. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get into an argument? That's the worst.
Well, I mean, I think there's like there's different ways of handling different scenarios. I think there's a lot of context that has to be involved. I always say the medium is the message, right? You know, so how people treat you is really telling you how they really feel about you, right? So if you are constantly being met with disrespect, or if you're constantly being met with the behavior that, you know, is not conducive to having a successful friendship, this individual is telling you in so many ways they don't want to be your friend. And I respect people.
That's fine.
I respect their decision, and I move a different way. Like, I will, like, hey, some things you don't even need to be brought up. You know, some things is like your actions are what they are. Mm-hmm. Like I've even told women, you know, that I was in relationships with, the day you post provocative pictures on social media is the day you're telling me we're not in a relationship. We don't even got to talk about it. We don't even got. I'm already moving. I respect your decision. You know, so there's certain things that don't even need to be addressed. Now there are certain things that could be like, hey, you know what? You know, you showed up 30 minutes late. I told you I needed to be here at this time. I only had an hour to give, and you needed my help. Now I'm going to be running late because to where I need to go next.
Am I really listening to Glenn talking about being late?
Yes, because I'm always late. And, you know, it's something that I know where my shortcomings are. I know what I need to work on, right? Like, and so it's like, you got guys that do that. They're telling you in so many ways, they do not respect your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then
You know,
what
there's
you got
nothing
to
wrong
do,
with addressing it if you're on the receiving
yeah,
end. Not
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with addressing it. I mean, that's one thing that I think that's holding a lot of men from making friends nowadays is there's not that manly dialogue. There's not that masculine dialogue anymore, man to man. I mean, how many times? I mean, God, I remember when I was a kid, I used to hear that all the time from my dad and his friend. Well, man to man, let me say this, you know, and you don't hear that anymore. And that's what the kind of shit we need to get back to. I agree. But guys, I've got to roll. It's a great show. Glenn, thanks for joining us. We got to do this again, but I've got to hop off. I hope you guys keep going because we got a great topic. And I think it's something that we need to delve into more on a different date.
yeah. No, I appreciate you guys having me on, Kevin.
All right, guys.
You
I
know.
got to roll. I'll talk, Alex. I'll talk to you soon. And Glenn, I look forward to having you on.
Sounds good. Yeah, Glenn, when's your next thing that you're doing the debate?
In about 10 minutes.
All right, then let's go ahead and wrap it here. Thank you so much for coming on, man. This is a lot of fun. I'm glad that we connected again today. It was well overdue. And
let's talk about that. This is something that should be highlighted. This is a highlighted moment. You know, like
real male friendships, and these two guys right here. Really? Are we talking about this? Is it a real thing?
So me and the Hudson here, we had
Don't you fucking call me Hudson or Hudson. I'm Hudsman, the Hudsman. I hate you.
He's not nobody.
You know how to grind my gears. All right, go ahead.
He's definitely nobody's husband. We had a falling out, and that led to no longer interacting, communicating. We both felt a certain way about it. You know, and you know, he reached out to me today and apologized. Guys don't like to apologize. Nobody likes to apologize. He swallowed his pride and he offered that rare olive branch that you don't see most men give. And I hated the fact that our friendship was where it was, especially during the time that it was going on, because of who really fostered that connection. And losing Thor was already hard enough, and feeling like I was losing other people that was part of Thor to me, that were still little bits of Thor that I would still be able to see and interact with. It was difficult to deal with. And I had to make a decision to say, okay, I can't have him in my life right now, because he just wasn't. It wasn't a positive input into the scenario that I was already dealing with, and on top of taking care of Thor as it was. And when he reached out to me that shows a lot of growth, a lot of maturity, and to be able to say that. And so I don't compliment people very often, you know, unless they deserve it. And I wanted to highlight you for that. Having the ability to, you know where you did wrong, regardless of whether you thought I was wrong or if I apologized, that you took it upon yourself to, I want at least to make sure that my side of the street is clean, and, you know, try to patch up what I could patch up, not knowing whether or not I was going to accept your message or call or anything. You put your neck out there, and I respect that, and I appreciate that. That does show, you know, self-reflection and owning up to your wrongdoings and shortcomings. You're not going to get me to apologize for shit, though, but, you know, good job on you. I'm kidding.
It's fine. It's okay. I don't expect it in this domestic partnership that we have, even with our LLC that we don't use anymore. Doesn't matter. Yeah, man. Because at the end of the day, we're all just here to get along and to enjoy life as we know it. And it's like, I fucking love doing shit with you. And I enjoy the conversations. I mean, hell, like I started off the conversation today talking about how long Jesus lived after he rose from the grave, because for some reason that was missing in my Bible school. Like it's just so random, but I knew you would know the answer, and I miss you, man. And it's like, why the fuck am I letting my ego get in the way of us having the great relationship we've always had? And I think that's what everybody needs to look at. And that's why with these real male friendships, these real male relationships, these real gay marriages that we do have here.
You say gay?
Oh, no,
Gay
no, we're good. We're good. We're good.
What the hell kind of homo shit are you on? I know you're Philly's best gay dating coach, but you weren't.
Oh, you got that loaded up? I wish I had that loaded up.
I always have that shit loaded up.
Yeah, but can you play it? I don't think you can from here, because that would be so funny.
I can. I have it downloaded here. 1 second.
Send it my way. Send it my way while we spit back and forth, and we'll end with that.
Yeah, like
I'll load it up. But yeah, dude, we've had such a long fucking like. This is weird because it like I feel like I've been with you longer than I've been with my girl, and we've been together like 5 years. But the ebbs and flows, like that's the natural male dynamic. And that's okay. Just because your buddy is pushing you on certain things doesn't mean that he hates you. It means that he's trying to address something. And it depends on how he delivers the message, whether it
I'm going to deliver it to you raw. No lube.
I'm not. I do not consent.
You don't get to say anything. You just take it.
No, but
like,
it's it's really, dude, it's really good, and I'm so glad that we talked today, and you were able to come on to talk on this show, because that's really what I wanted to focus on is real male friendships. And I shared with you earlier, dude, and I shared earlier on the show, dude. I fucking cried today. I
wasn't gonna tell everybody that.
It's okay. I am. So I fucking cried today, just like thinking about everything with Thor, and I just got everything set up to get the best framed, and of course it's going to go back front so that it says the dragon ship, because my name is second to what the dragon ship was. And god damn, and dude, it was so weird. Like I've never done this before. I don't know if anybody else here has ever done this, but sending like a text message or a letter or even just writing something out to somebody who's passed away, I've never done that before. And I did that for the first time today because I didn't get to speak to him the last time in the way that I wanted to. It just kind of, things progressed very quickly. And writing it all out and being able to feel like I'm speaking to him, even though he's not able to respond. I don't know. It completely got completely very emotional about it. And it just made me think a lot about like, what did he teach me? What did he teach me about relationships, how to be a man, how to lead with that dominant masculine presence? And you know what? That's what I did. And I was like, you know what? There's no reason that Glenn and I are not communicating right now. So let's start the conversation. And here we are.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Share my screen and I'll blow it up.
All right.
Are you gay and looking for love? Are you having a hard time? Are you wanting to find meaningful connections, not just guys that want to pull their pants down, show you their Johnson, and make you suck their dick while you're trying to read a book? You find yourself striking out at your local gay watering hole? Strike one, strike two, strike three, and nobody just seems to be interested in your gay ass? You should contact the Husband, the dating coach for the gays, Philly's best. So if you want to end up like these carpet munchers who got married, or these Peter Puffers who got married and living their happily gay after, then you need to reach out to the Husband, guaranteed Philly's best gay dating coach just for you.
He is the best gay dating coach in Philly.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm also going to leave you guys with the ending of the Dragon Ship. Thank you, Glenn, for coming on. Everybody stay tuned for the debate, and definitely subscribe to the Men of Now YouTube channel. We're pushing out a lot of stuff, and if you guys want to become members, definitely go ahead and do that as well. All right, have a fantastic night, everybody.
ship sails through the stormy tide with raven wings as our guide. Skies of fire and ash, hearts beating the clash. But it's time to rest our weary bones. This journey etched in stone. The dragon ship stands tall. Our brothers to heed the call. Scars show where we've been. Eyes of warriors keen. Sails have killed.